Hey guys, welcome back to the channel McNallie Money, your home of all things stock, investment, and personal finance related. In today's episode, we're going to be reviewing Q2 earnings from Kartoon Studios. We're joined by the chairman and CEO, Andy Hayward, along with the CFO, Brian Parisi, going to be walking through the results along with outlook and strategy moving into next year. Before we get into it, take a second, hit the like button, guys. Big help to myself and the channel. If you're not already subscribed, McNallie Money, feel free to join and let us know in the comments section below if you're currently holding shares of Kartoon Studios and what you thought about their quarterly results. With that being said, let's get into today's video. Okay guys, that's right. Today's episode, Kartoon Studios just came out with Q2 earnings. Now, we are pleased to welcome both Andy Hayward, the chairman, CEO, and Brian Parisi, the CFO, to the channel. We're going to be splitting it up, focusing on some of the financial metrics first. Obviously, great to have the CFO on the channel himself. So Brian, welcome back. Thanks for making the time today.
No, thank you, Bryce, for having us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, most definitely. Now, this was a big quarter, quite a few standout numbers that caught my attention. If we're going to look back over the past 3 months here in Q2, what were some of the key financial highlights from your perspective?
Yeah, look, we talked last quarter a lot about momentum. That was a big thing as we look at how we're growing and improving over the last, several quarters. And when you have momentum on your side, what you do is you continue to push, which is exactly what we did this quarter. Our revenue grew by 23% in the quarter. Our mainframe production services division grew by 44%. And this also represented the 5th consecutive quarter of growth for the company, which is a record for us. So you can see the momentum coming from last year into this year, and we expect that to continue into 2026. Now, it wasn't just our mainframe production studios division either. Our cartoon channel had, by any metric that we have to measure that business, their viewership, the growth by specific programming, all that was up in the quarter. In fact, they won in the quarter, they were awarded the Amazon Operational Excellence Award in the quarter, which is fantastic for Todd and the team to really achieve that. Now, it's for us, we look at the bottom line. So it's not just revenue, it's cost as well. The cost for the company went down by 10% in the quarter compared to last year, which is great. Now, the key thing on that is it's a 10% reduction over a number that's already down from the prior year. We started about 2 years ago to really focus in on operational efficiencies. By the time Q2 last year hit, we'd already cut a significant amount of cost out of the company. So the fact that we're 10% down from that, what that's telling me, what that's telling us is not only are we maintaining those cost savings, but we're actually improving on that over time. So that's a huge metric for us. So the improvement in revenue, the improvement in cost is helping our bottom line tremendously. We're 31% improved over prior quarter, 43% improved over prior year to date. So again, this trend and momentum, we're seeing it in the numbers, Bryce.
Most definitely. Now back into the financials here, in terms of profitability specifically, when can investors expect to see profitability based on some of these improving margins and some of the cost reduction tactics you just mentioned?
Yeah, look, and we challenged ourselves early on to get the profitability. We know we have to be self-sufficient as a company. We know we have to be cash flow positive as a company. And the good thing is we're seeing that momentum in the revenue and the cost. We are still expecting to be profitable in Q4 of this year and into 2026. And we're going to do that in a couple of different areas. We're going to, again, continue to expand our production services revenue with our mainframe studio. They already are at 90+% of their business in 25 is already contracted. So Michael and Kim, they're converting deal flow that's coming in, they're converting it to contracts, which is fantastic. In fact, if you look at next year, they're already 53% of next year is contracted when you compare year over year. So that's really great for them to convert that deal flow into bids and business. Also on the revenue side is we need to continue growing the cartoon channel. We need to feed content into the channel to increase the viewership. And again, we saw massive increases in viewership in the quarter. We expect that to continue. And then lastly, probably a smaller piece, but our media buying division, Beacon Media, is going to look to diversify their revenue streams, not just in toys and kids, but also into travel, into pets, into families. So that diversification we think is going to add revenue against the same cost structure. So that's all going to help the bottom line to our business. And then really on the cost side, Bryce, it's just continue to manage costs down, be thoughtful about our spending. If we do those things right, then we're going to get the profitability and then continue forward.
Now, Andy, we just heard from Brian in terms of some of the Q2 highlights. From your perspective, what were your key takeaways from this 3-month period?
I'm going to frame it, if I may, in an unusual way. There are decades where nothing happens, and there are weeks where decades happen. We are starting those weeks right now with the Q that came out today, and the information that we will be sharing in the coming days. There is a momentum, as Brian said, inside Kartoon Studios now that's palpable. The core businesses are all humming. Everything is moving exactly as it should. Brian spoke about the 5th consecutive quarter of revenues increasing. It's not just that, it's the assets that are growing, it's the businesses that are coming online, and it's the development that we are seeing that will also make itself apparent very shortly. There's tremendous momentum inside this company now, and we're extremely excited about where it's going.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Now, Brian also mentioned some of the strength you're seeing in Kartoon Channel itself. Can you talk to us about some of the key viewership metrics and really where or why you attribute so much success here?
Okay, so let's talk about Kartoon Channel. The big exciting thing going on in our industry is what's called the fast channels. That's the free ad-supported television. The fast channel growth is exploding. It's over 200% up right now, our fast streaming. And Kartoon Channel, as you know, is fully distributed. We're carried on Apple TV, Apple iOS, Amazon Prime, Amazon Fire, Tubi, Roku, Pluto, Android TV, Android Mobile, Dish, YouTube, of course. It's everywhere. But it's not just that it's everywhere, it's growing, and it continues to grow because the messaging in there is something that is resonating. It's about safety and it's about high quality content. Look at the properties that we have on there that are working so well right now. We have Super Mario Brothers under license. We have Pac-Man under license, fabulous classics like that. We have some of our originals that continue to grow. Rainbow Rangers is hitting new heights. Literally, just before I sat down here now, I got an email from a former colleague I used to work with years ago, who is the executive editor at DC Comics, and he wrote me about Rainbow Rangers. His daughter is obsessed with it. Can I find some stuff to send him of Rainbow Rangers for his daughter? Rainbow Rangers is growing. Shaq's Garage is growing. Superhero Kindergarten is growing. All of the content is there, and the new content that we have coming on that either we're acquiring or obviously we're producing. Winnie the Pooh is a separate story, and that's going to be a juggernaut, and we'll talk more about that as the days go on. But so you've got that. Then the second thing about Kartoon Channel is management. Kartoon Channel has been managed by Todd Steinman, who has done an incredible job making it profitable, but we've now put the worldwide component of Kartoon Channel under his oversight as well. So one person is managing not just the United States, but as it has grown, we're in over 60 territories right now. And Todd is overseeing all of that, obviously invoking synergies and efficiencies that didn't exist before when we had the international managed overseas from London. So just a lot of momentum, the word that Brian used, and I think is so important as we move forward into the end of this year where the company will be profitable, assets are growing, the asset base is growing, the catalog is growing, and we see just nothing but positive stuff coming and more things that we'll be announcing in the coming days.
That's great. And yeah, listening to the long list of shows you guys feature. My kids as well have a 4 and a 2-year-old very into a lot of the programming. So I appreciate you guys producing that. Now, the distribution I wanted to ask a specific question about that because you guys have a visual here showing that global presence that you just talked about. You also mentioned some of the structural changes internally in terms of how you're managing that global reach. So, can you talk to us at a broader scope? How important is distribution in the media business, and how does this really differentiate or separate you from some of your competitors?
Yeah. Well, we are a vertical company, so we basically cover it all. We produce the cartoons, we license the cartoons, the characters for, excuse me, exploitation across all the different product categories. We distribute the cartoons on our own channels, so we don't have to go to, let's say, Netflix or Disney Plus, though we have shows on them, but we have our own channel system, so we can control these shows in the United States now and in worldwide, where we have spent the last few years laying pipe and getting this system set up. Well, the pipe is laid now, and the oil is starting to flow through the pipes. That's what's going on right now. And then we have our in-house ad sales agency, Beacon Media. Not everybody knows about that, so let me just share a little bit with you what that is and the value it brings to our company. Beacon Media represents mostly toy companies, but we'll say children and family companies, but well-known toy companies, probably 20 of the top toy companies in the world we represent. What do we do for them? We buy their commercials and their advertising for them. So we have a lot of clout with the various broadcasters. And that clout then enables us to use our own shows to get in our own channel to get carriage with these different broadcasters. It also allows us to have an inside track with the toy companies when we come to them to license our characters. So it's kind of a virtuous circle having the in-house kids ad sales agency. And as Brian mentioned, they're diversifying to go beyond just kids and family. They're going to be in a lot of other categories because the infrastructure is there and it's scalable.
Yeah, I definitely like the vertical integration approach, and it's nice to hear a little bit more about Beacon and that division of the business. Now, you talk about the fact that you guys produce your own content. Two of the biggest productions, I guess, most anticipated right now, Winnie and Friends, and then the Stan Lee universe. Can you give us a quick update on where you're at with both of those initiatives?
Yes, I'm going to try and restrain myself and not talk too much in the superlative, but you need to grasp for a moment. Winnie the Pooh brand has done $80 billion of sales historically. That's more than Star Wars. That's more than Lord of the Rings. That's more than Barbie. That's more than Mickey Mouse. That's more than Harry Potter. That's more than pretty much anything we could think of, maybe with one or two exceptions. It's an incredible property, and we're very fortunate that the copyright expired. When the copyright expired, we went and got trademarks for Winnie and Friends and for the 100-Acre Wood. And we started to put together a team to produce this series, which is second to none. The executive producer is Linda Wolverton. If you don't know who Linda Wolverton is, let me just share with you. She wrote The Lion King. She wrote Beauty and the Beast. She wrote Maleficent. She wrote Alice in Wonderland. She is royalty in animation. She is creatively driving this forward for us. We have the creative director, John Rivoli, who did all of the creative direction on, oh my God, Batman, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter. If you just saw the new Superman movie, all of the, artwork and everything for that was him. If you saw Wicked, everything to do with Wicked in the marketplace was him. So we have an incredible team of champions that are on this, and I could go down roll by roll everybody in this. Everybody wanted to be a part of it. What is Winnie the Pooh about? It's an oasis of goodness. It's about kindness. It's about family. It's about friendship. It's about love. It's about things that there are too little of in our world. And we wanted to be a part of bringing this new version of it for the next generation and future generations to the marketplace. The pilot script I just read last night, it brought a tear to my eye. The writing of that caliber that Linda did it just left me so proud and know what's coming forth with Winnie the Pooh. It's going to be a massive licensing program, and it's going to have global distribution. We were in a trip to Europe a month ago, and we met with broadcasters all over there, and everybody's very enthusiastic to have this show. So let's just say Winnie the Pooh is going to be a tentpole for us now and for many years in the future. Stan Lee, we've been talking about Stan Lee for a long time. There is a huge, huge audience for Stan Lee. We have 30 million people in social media alone that follow our Stan Lee social media sites. When you think about this, one man's imagination created 15 of the top 50 movies of all time. When you think Spider-Man and Iron Man and Captain America and Thor and Fantastic Four and Guardians of the Galaxy and Black Panther and the Avengers, oh my God. All of this came from this one man's imagination, and we are blessed to be the stewards of his IP. We run the whole program. We control his name, his signature, his voice, his physical likeness, all of the consumer product licensing. And who did we bring on to creatively run this business for us so that we know it will be faithful to Stan's vision and bring the creativity that he left behind in this treasured trove of wonderful properties still to be developed? Michael Uslan, who was the executive producer of Batman and every Batman movie and was a close collaborator with Stan Lee. So these are two, if you have Stan Lee and you got Winnie the Pooh, you don't need many other things. It's like saying, well, we have just 4 musicians we work with, but their names are John, George, Paul, and Ringo. So we're very excited about these 2 properties and where they're going in the coming year.
Now, Brian, if we kick it back to you before closing thoughts, in terms of upcoming catalysts for the organization, what should our investors be watching for?
Well, look, Bryce, we had a really great quarter. In fact, we've had a really great year to date financially. We've talked through a lot of that here on this call, and you'll see it in our earnings release and in our Q. But really for us, it's the focus on and executing towards profitability. We're going to get there in Q4. It is the mantra and focus of this company. It's everything we do is what is that going to do to the bottom line? And when we improve the bottom line, what we do is we improve shareholder value. We've done a number of things to improve shareholder value this year through some buybacks and some executive purchases of shares. But what's going to impact it even more is going to be the profitability of the company that's going to hit later this year and then into next year.
Now, Andy, we wanted to give you the opportunity to close out or give us your closing thoughts on today's discussion. Give you the mic back, and thank you for your time today.
Yeah. Well, I think my closing thought was my opening thought. There are decades where nothing happens, and there are weeks where decades happen. We are in those weeks right now. The fuse is lit today, and we will be sharing more with you in the coming days. We're very excited to start it with by saying we've had 5 quarters of increased revenues, and that is the party is just beginning. So thank you very much, Bryce, and thank you for giving us this opportunity to share with you a little peek into what's going on.
Of course. So there you go, folks. Q2 earnings outlook and update from Kartoon Studios. If you guys have any additional questions for the management team, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. If you're still watching the video at this point, hit the like button. Feel free to subscribe. Andy, Brian, thank you so much for the time. We'll see you soon.